So thank you, Marlene. My name is Sophie Charpentier. I'm representing Chalmers Industriteknik. And I will talk, I don't think I will use my full time, so it was okay that you went a little bit over before. I will talk about the CIRPASS 2 project, and the subtitle of the title of the project is Digital Product Passport Enabling at Scale and Real-Life Circular Economy Use Cases in Electronic, Textile, Tires, and Construction Value Chain. It's an EU project that's led by CEA in France, so we are one of 50 partners. And before I go to more the details, you might notice that there's no batteries in this, and there was batteries before in CIRPASS 1. Batteries is handled in a different EU project, so that was a separate. It was specifically asked not to talk about the batteries in that project. Those who have been around for a while have heard me talk about CIRPASS and CIRPASS 2 already, but hopefully you will learn something from the next 10 minutes. CIRPASS 1, so it's good to kind of compare size, duration, and scope between the two projects. Both projects, so CIRPASS and CIRPASS 2, are EU-funded projects. CIRPASS, without a number, was an 18-month project that ran from late 2022 to the end of Q1 2024. It was a coordination and support action. And for those who don't know the EU jargon, that means that there was no hands-on work. It was a lot of discussion, and there was 31 partners. Almost the entire project was funded. I think it was like 98% or something like that. So the 2 million euro that's written there is the full size of the project. And the goal was to build consensus on a standard-based DPP system. I will come back to about some of the deliverable later. The same program financed then the continuation, and there was, of course, a call. Several consortium applied, and it was our project that was selected. And when I say ours, I'm not managing this, okay? The duration is 3 years, and it's an innovation action. So this time it's much more hands-on work. And the size of the project is at least double than what's written there. So this is a funding, and it needed to be 50% from each partner. So the budgeted the budget for the project is a little bit more than 12 million euro. I don't remember exactly the number. And this is just for the partners. The 50 partners are the ones that are getting part of the funding. I will go back to this. It's a much bigger project than that. And again, the idea is to have large-scale deployment of digital product passport. So much more hands-on work than previously. Now I don't know how to move forward. Okay, good. The CIRPASS project finished last year, but some of the results are still very pertinent, and the webpage is still available, of course. And here I kind of noted down some of the results that could be interesting still to see. The user stories. So this is what requirements should the DPP system have. Then there are use case and the 3 value chain that we had at that time, and there's recommendation and roadmaps. The end event, the final event in March 2024 was also recorded, and although it's a full day of like 8 hours of basically YouTube video, it was broken down by the section. So it's if you're interested and you have a little bit of time, sometimes on the train or in transit, it's a good source of information. We see at CIRPASS, we see the DPP as a link between the EU internal markets and the data economy. And there's basically 2 parts with this. The first part is that there's mandatory, and this is a lot what we, most of the people will talk about when the regulation will start applying, or when there will be an actual deadline for the regulation. So for batteries, for example, it's all about this. It's based on standardized data and exchange protocol. And then there's a number of sector-specific mandatory information. And as Robin very clearly described, this is not known. Neither of these things are known at the moment. But we know that these 2 components will be mandatory. And then there's basically all the non-mandatory stuff. And in CIRPASS 2, we are talking about non-mandatory as well. This is how you create value. The one that are already working on some sort of traceability, accessible with marker, like a QR code, mostly they're working on this. So we have 4 objectives in this. In the deployment of large scale, there is 13 pilots. I will come back to this in a few pictures. All the pilots, we call demonstrators in Trace for Value, but they're calling it Lighthouse Pilot. Focus on business-to-business activities that promote circularity. It was a requirement. And there's also a communication channel between CIRPASS and Sensenelec. So we have as an objective to support the standardization work that's ongoing. An important point is that we want to demonstrate the cross-pilot interoperability. So we're not creating 13 closed ecosystem. That's the important point. Then there's cross-cutting work on providing support to SMEs in their uptake of DPPs while supporting the deployment of diverse and vibrant DPP as a service solution provider community. This is where I'm working. So we are several organizations that are working on this. We had a consultation recently there as well. And then we want to support the deployment and adoption of this in other sectors. So the goal is not to create something that's not flexible. The goal is to create something that can be used outside of EU and in other value chain than the 4 that we're working in. I said already that we are 50 partners. So the white ones are the ones that were there in CIRPASS 1. The yellow or beige one are the new ones. So it's roughly 50-50, maybe a tiny bit more of new partners. And in these 50, it's the pilot leader and those who are contributing in other work packages, but not the full ecosystem of each pilot. I will come back to this. So in the pilots, there's a pilot leader, there's a number of upstream and downstream partners. That was a requirement. There are our partners or our strategies. Again, that was a requirement to get the pilot and the application. And there's a circular economy business model. And there's, of course, it's not written there, but that's like, of course, there's a DPP service provider. So either a company that's doing this themselves, or there's a company that's doing specifically that's involved. All the 13 pilots are built like that. This is the list of the pilot, and this is available on the website. The link will appear on the next pictures. I think all of them have a video now presenting them. So the first 6 are textile. The next 5 are electronics. The one here, Watt.io, this is a Swedish-led one, but there's Swedish partners here and there, or like Nordic even partners. The green line is led by Michelin. The value chain is tires, and the last one is construction products. And all of this is available on the website. I will make the slides available. This is publicly available information. So in numbers, the CIRPASS 2 is, as I said, so the consortium partners are roughly 50. If you calculate all the ecosystem partners, it's more than 100. And the reason why they're not part of the consortium is, one, it's impossible to have consortium agreements and like manage 120 partners project. It's too big. The second reason is that basically they limited the consortium partners to those who are actually having some funding coming in. Those who are contributing in kind are basically in that pilot ecosystem partners. Then there's a number of expert working groups, partners, and a community of practice. So this is, I think it's more than this. So in each of the 5 expert working group, the limit was 100 partners. The community of practice is unlimited. So if you're interested to like touch base every now and then with the project, this is a good way to do that. And then we have, of course, stakeholders and newsletters, subscribers. The project started, as I said, in May last year. So it's like kind of a 1 year point. And those of you who have been an EU project before will know this. These projects are slow to get going. So there's been output, but there will be a really big bump of output now at month 12. So there's a lot of reports that are being written and that will be published on the website. So if you go on the website of CIRPASS 2, you click project result, you will see everything with a short description. I named a few now, but like the list will be much longer in like a few months' time. Ideas for reducing the reporting burden using the DPP is an interesting one. Option for the EU web portal search, those who are more technique oriented. Option for redirection to the mandatory DPP backup. It's a research proposal, just to be clear. This is not how the standard will necessarily look. I want to also point out here, I don't know if you see my cursor, but if you look at the top of the page, you have a link that's called resource. And on this drop-down menu, if you click, you have all the resources that are linked to this. So it's a landing page, and then it like sends you to other resources that are coupled to this. So for example, when the EU published their implementation plan for the ASPR like in 2 weeks ago, it's there as well in that. How do you stay in contact with the project? The main way I would say is LinkedIn. We're all there, and you are welcome to get in contact with me, of course. I'm very active also on LinkedIn, and when there is a consultation like we just had now, but we are having another one in early spring 2026, then we are always publishing it there. And then if you're on the list of stakeholders, you will also get it as an email.